Adrian, and welcome to Kiwi's Crochet Corner. If you are new to my channel, I usually do yarn and crochet content. Occasionally I'll talk a little bit about knit. Still haven't finished or still haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I'm working on it. And if you're not new to my channel and you've been watching for a while, thanks for coming in. Thanks for, keeping up with my channel. I really do appreciate it. Alright, guys. So, some of you may remember the giant axolotl that I mentioned was commissioned I mentioned it in a previous video. So, for that project, I am using Mainstays Chenille Chunky yarn. It is classified as a super bulky 6, however, I would personally classify it as a jumbo 7. Now, I've already gotten through the first ball, and you can see there's only 31.7 yards in each ball. So, I'm going to show you, let me see if I can. This is just the head of the axolotl, and this is just one ball of yarn. But since I'm working with the large yarn, I wanted to do a short tutorial on how to join the ends of the yarn to start the new skein. So, what I'm going to do, I'm just using a piece of scrap embroidery thread right here and a regular sewing needle. Nothing spectacular. Just like that. I'll thread it on my needle, and then I'm going to put a couple of knots here in the end. It's not going to take much to join these two ends of the yarn. When you're working with such a thick yarn, the thing is you can't use the magic knot to join your yarns or your skeins. It's too bulky. So to join the two ends, this one being the new one, this one is the old one. To join them, basically what we're going to do is we're going to sew them together. If you feel in these thicker yarns, there is a core. So we're just going to basically, like I said, you're going to sew them together like you would a button or anything else. You're just going to sew them together the best you can. And you're going to try to go in through that center core of the thicker yarn. Each time you go in there, you're going to try to hit that center core. And because there's so much fluff on these types of yarn, you're not going to see the stitching that holds them together. You can see when I pull it tight, you can't see the stitching that holds them together. Now you can see this little tail, which I'll cut that back here in a little bit, but as long as you're making sure to go through that center core of the yarn, you can join these pretty well. And it won't be noticeable. I'm using mine for amigurumi. Don't stab yourself in the finger. So, I mean, that's even more, it'll be even more easier to hide, considering I'm using this yarn to do an amigurumi project. And I'm hoping I'm staying in frame for you guys. I'm probably not. I'm usually pretty bad about that. And then, you know, to tie off, all I'm going to do, if I can find the core of it, I'm going to go through this and this core one more time. Like this. I'm going to slip underneath this to make a little bit of a knot. And then again under here. So if you take that and stick it in there for a second, if you pull this thread here, it'll tighten up just like that. And then you want to put your thumb over the knot and pull this way. You're going to pull that as tight as you can. And then you can just clip it off right there. Like I said, my project is I'm using this yarn for an amigurumi project, so this little join is actually going to be even easier to hide, considering I'm using it for amigurumi. You can use this join for blankets or whatever you're using your you know, Jumbo 7 or yarn for. It's really, you know, and it's really easy to hide. It's not, you know, it's not a huge deal. It does kind of look a little messy, a little bit, but we can trim that off just a little bit. For the sake of joining the yarn from one skein to another, it's not going to be noticeable, and it's going to hold together enough that you can go on with your stitching. So that's how you would do that. I hope you guys found this tutorial, despite it being so short, useful. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them.